And hello, everyone. Welcome to Cruise Control, your on air automotive magazine. And me, Les Jackson, him, Fred Staab, we are just really anxious to get through some of our stories this hour. And we're going to start, Fred, by saying goodbye, a sad goodbye to the Ford Focus. Great little car,
Yep.
been around for years and years, and the Nissan GTR, which is probably the least expensive supercar you could buy.
Yep.
Um, both of them are very, very cool in their own right, but they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone, and it's sad. We'll talk about both of them, and you know, Focus RS was one of the most fun vehicles I ever drove. I thought it was a great
Yeah,
vehicle and a perfect competitor to the Golf R from Volkswagen. And well, now they're both gone, and Ford is out of the car business in Europe, so no more.
that's right.
We'll talk about that, and then did the UAW drop a clue about the return of the Shelby GT500? I think they did. They talked about an engine called Legend, and they look forward
Oh,
to building it. As you know, the
mm,
GT350 came back as a Shelby vehicle available from through Ford dealers, but this could be a Ford-built GT500. What do you think, Les? That's pretty exciting news, isn't it?
I think it's high time to
It's
to
high
bring it back.
time.
That's
Yeah.
what I think.
All right. All right. And
So
then,
there we are. And over at Volvo, they're unwrapping the ES90. They won't say it's a sedan,
but it is.
but it is. So we're happy about that.
Yeah, they're kind of saying, yeah, doesn't it look like a high SUV? I think they're trying to do the
That's
Toyota
right.
Crown thing, where it's sort of a car, but it's a high riding car that could sort of have like
Yeah,
SUV cues, which might be the only way to get a sedan, if you will, into the marketplace. I don't know, but we'll see. And then over at Genesis, they price out their most popular model, the 2026 edition of that. Genesis always has some great things going.
yep.
I actually have a GV80 Coupe, which is sort of like what we just saw from
That's
Volvo.
that's a that's a car.
It's
That's a
a car.
car.
It's a car. So yeah, good news, right? And what do you have going on in California,
Well, the California is about to pass the Leno Law,
right?
which has to do with older cars and emissions and all sorts of other standards. We'll talk about that in detail.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Pretty
Jay
interesting.
Leno's promoting it and kind of explaining it to legislators. So who knows if it will
Yeah,
pass? We'll
with
talk
the
about it.
with as you know, as one who's here in Washington, you when you explain things to legislators, you always want to talk slowly and in one syllable words. So
Oh boy. All right.
that's there you are.
Well, I'm also going to have an at the wheel review of the ID Buzz. This is an incredible color combination, reminded me of the Santa Fe Super Chief in War Bonnet, with the red
Yeah,
and silver.
I'm envious of this.
It was a great driving vehicle, and we'll give you a full at the wheel review, all the pluses and minuses, and if you want to meet people and
I
have
was about
people.
to ask you, is everyone waving and kind of
Well,
trying to
people
get
would
you to open the
block
doors?
me in the parking lot as I was getting out and jump
Yep.
out and take a picture. It was weird. I felt like the celebrities do, where you're
Well, you are a celebrity.
I'm in the
Just
I know I'm not. I'm just some guy that likes to talk about cars with my friend Les Jackson, but and
that's
our
it.
our whole audience. But it was cool. It was cool. It's I have some very interesting observations about it. Um, it is perhaps the coolest minivan, but is it really a minivan? Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that and have a full at the wheel review of it. But let's start not with a vehicle that was just introduced, but with a couple of vehicles that are going away. And I'm frankly not happy about this. I have to say I'm not a fan of what Ford's doing, getting rid of cars, great cars like the Focus. It's they're out of the car business. They just want to make trucks now, and I don't know.
Yeah, I, I'm not happy either. But and the Europeans are particularly not happy. They love these things in England
They'll buy
and
stuff from
France.
someone else then.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I'm not at the boardroom of the Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
It's a great. I mean, it's been around, gosh, since certainly the '90s.
Yes. It replaced the Escort, and
Yeah,
the
and
RS, by the way, was one of the best performing little hatches, and it was and,
terrific.
and you could put stuff in it and use it, and still have all-wheel drive and crazy cornering and that. I like it. I wouldn't mind having a used one of them, frankly.
Yeah, I had a Fiesta, the hot rod version. Oh gosh, 15 years ago or so. I shredded the tires off in the week I had it. I I
Yeah,
I drove that thing in the classic Carroll Shelby manner, which is if you don't break it, you're not trying hard enough.
that's right. That's right. That's what they say for racing. But so the final Mondeo, which was the Fusion in
Right.
the U.S., but it was called Mondeo in Europe, was built in April of 2022. The Fiesta, the last one, in July of 2023 in Europe. And later this year, the Focus will also be retired. Um, the production of Focus will end in November, and there are no plans for a direct successor.
Mm.
And Jim Farley says he just wants to be the Porsche of off-road and build trucks, and we're not going to build boring
Well,
cars. Not that I didn't think the Focus was a boring car. I thought it
I
made
didn't think
sense.
so, but it's just different times, different plans.
Yeah, even the car-like Escape is going away, which is a pop. It's called the Kuga, Kuga, I believe, it's Kuga in Europe,
Yeah.
and that's going to go away. I mean,
Well, they just don't make enough money when you can make more money on SUVs and trucks.
right. Is that the
It's,
trend in
you
Europe?
know,
They are going away from cars to giant trucks, or are they just buying cars from
I
somebody else?
I hope I hope not, but I think they are.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, it's
Anyway,
goodbye.
that's where it
Uh,
is. Goodbye. It is a fun
gonna miss you.
vehicle.
Gonna
Yeah.
miss you.
Be a great little autocrosser, wouldn't it, to have that RS?
Oh yeah. Well, that's how I shredded the tires. They
Yeah,
had an
you
event, and I won the event, but the tires
did
lost.
not win the event.
They
Yeah.
did not win.
Yeah. Now, that's not the only car going away. And this one, I think they have a little more leeway because of the trouble they're in. But that is the GTR, the Nissan GTR. And there is some talk that they will bring this back. It's been on sale for 18 years. The current model can't meet some of the new European noise regulations and safety regulations. It is known as Japan's Corvette, a car capable of
Yeah.
punching far above its weight. And it's only received a couple of updates and two significant facelifts over the time, relying on Nissan's 3.8 twin turbocharged V6 engine for power. Great. I love driving this. A great vehicle, a fun vehicle. Um, will there be a new successor to this? I think there might be, but it all depends on what's going on with Nissan, it's
Well,
hard
it
to
does.
make a
And
case for
yeah,
this if you're struggling,
uh,
right?
yeah, but it's not something you could hinge all your investment on.
No,
But if you got one, don't get rid of it.
no.
Uh, it's going to be worth money.
It's funny they call it the Japanese Corvette, but you look at the back of it, it looks sort of like a Corvette in the back with the four taillights, doesn't it? You know, it does look like that. I don't know. It's sad to see those two models go, and I really hope that is not a trend in the auto industry to see great models like that go.
I hope not.
But hopefully, in the case of the GTR, it will be replaced by something, and the Focus will probably just become a trim level of the F450.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you have it. But let's talk a little bit about the return of a car, by the way. And by the way, let's address one Mustang rumor. There's something called the Mach 4 going around. They say it's a four-door Mustang. Some dealers were shown concepts.
Hmm.
I don't know if they will build that, but you have a story about the GT 500, right? That they
The
might
GT
be.
500.
Yeah, and it comes
And
from a unique
it's
source.
That's right, the UAW, and they certainly know what's happening
Mm-hmm.
because they're the ones that have to get all the information on upcoming products so they can get the factories all set up to build
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of detail there, and they've they published online. They said the vehicle is going to have an engine named Legend, which
Mm-hmm.
is a giveaway right there
Mm-hmm.
because the GT5 350 GT 500 were legends in their time.
Right.
Um, and since it's hard to believe it's been 10 years since we had the Boss 302s
Mm-hmm.
in the Mustangs. But the Shelby Mustangs always get a lot of attention, which is legend. That was
Mm-hmm.
his motto to his factory people. He said, "Build a legend and then repeat."
Okay. Interesting.
So the Dearborn engine plant is adding an afternoon shift
Okay.
to its niche assembly line,
Mm-hmm.
and it sure looks like it's going to be. We already had the GT 350 Mustang some years ago. Looks like it'll be a monster
Yeah,
GT 500.
I got to drive the GT 500, and the last edition of it, I have to say, was one of the best. It was a car you could take to the road course, the drag strip, um, and then drive it on the street. It wasn't like so impossible to drive on the
Yeah.
street. Um, and I believe they told me they put somebody's grandma in it, and she ran almost a 10-second quarter mile at the drag strip, which it was like, wow. So
Yeah.
you can do everything in this. And it was still a Mustang. It still had nav, and it still had all the stuff in it. And I thought this is really a great value for this vehicle that can do just about everything. Like you could road
Well,
course it,
that's right.
autocross it, drag race it, and then just
Yeah.
drive it around to car
With a
shows
warranty.
with a warranty. Yeah.
And I drove back in the early 70s, I drove a GT 500 uh, of that era.
Mm-hmm.
And for what it was, it was remarkably tractable, as we used to call
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
It was docile to drive every day to work
So it didn't have a
or to
crazy
the grocery
cam,
store. But
lopey
then when you
cam.
put your foot in it, yeah,
Yeah.
it became a monster.
Yeah. 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 Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Well, I hope they bring it back. It would be great to see it come back.
Yep.
I think it's a wonderful vehicle. Uh, Interesting that Ford themselves did not do the GT350. That is being built. You know, the GTs are going to Shelby American, and
Right.
they are being built there. So uh, sounds like this, if it does go forward, would be more like a traditional approach, right? Where they're building them themselves. So let's talk about the Volvo ES90. And this is a vehicle that was revealed this week. Volvo is hitting it out of the park. They're doing a lot of reveals. Um, and it's kind of funny how they announce this. They say some might say it's a sedan, others might see a fastback, or even hints of an SUV. Frankly, it is a sedan, but as I said in the opener, I believe it is sort of um, kind of like that Toyota Crown, where it is a high
Right.
hipped sedan that where you sit up high. Would you say that's accurate?
It is an SUV which is grudgingly has become a sedan. Um, not not because of Volvo's being grudgingly, but because it's SUVs think they dominate the world, which they do. But the fact is, sedans offer an awful lot um, close to what SUVs offer, except for space.
hmm
So yeah, I think it's a very handsome car.
Now, what's that little bump above the windshield? Is that LiDAR?
Probably is, yeah,
Yeah. Um,
like the equivalent of Subaru's eyesight.
okay. Although Subaru uses just a camera, but I wonder
Right,
if
and
this
it's
is.
in the yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting build on that. We have to figure that out more. But it is a fully electric vehicle, and well, this is kind of when they don't have a lot to say just now. They put things like this in the release: confident, distinctive, and practical, which is good. Uh, 22-liter capacity frunk in the front. So that means it's not like some other electric vehicles done in the past where it's sort of like a traditional car, except you open the hood and there's an electric motor there. This has the frunk in the front. It comes with a panoramic roof that provides UV protection up to 99.9%. And you can also get an electrochromatic version that can adjust the transparency of the glass. I like that a lot.
I
And
like that. I like that too. I believe I know what's in that little
bump.
rise bump. It says there's an active safety system
Okay.
with an array of sensors, including 5 radars, 7 cameras, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and a LiDAR from Luminar Technologies.
There you go.
There it is. Wow.
But they're not claiming any higher level self-drive capabilities with this.
No, no, it's just this
Safe.
thing knows where it is, what it's doing, what's going on every second.
And by the way, when you look at the footage, I don't see a driver. Oh, I see him now. Yeah, he was hidden
Oh, no,
behind the
they're
B
yeah.
pillar. I was
They
like,
always when they do that, they always have the drivers sit way back and
and now with
uh,
AI, you could just take them out of the scene,
yeah,
which is
you can take them out.
yeah. Um, great looking vehicle. I don't know when it's going to be revealed. We don't know pricing, but certainly very slick. I think Volvo's doing a great job. I really do. Uh, I just drove their EX40. I'm looking forward to getting into their EX30 when it gets here. Their inexpensive electric vehicle. But I like the look. It's a great uplook of the DNA for Volvo, and I think it should do well for them. So congratulations on a new vehicle, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think this is going to sell very well.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. The ES30. Let's talk about another brand that does a great job, and that is Genesis. And Genesis, um, has their most popular model is the GV70, and they've redone this for 2026, and we have some pricing information on it. GV70, it's newly redesigned. It kind of takes of what the language that the GV80 had, where it has the big screen across the front, where it kind of just fades right into the infotainment system from the other display for that gives you the miles per hour and things like that. So they've done this 2026 two powertrain options, a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline four with all-wheel drive, 300 horsepower, and also a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 all-wheel drive delivering 375. 9 different exterior colors, including Ceres Blue, which is inspired by the dwarf planet between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. And Bering Blue, which is a solid metallic color with a subtle combination of cool blue and gray, inspired by the icy Bering Sea. Sounds beautiful.
Huh.
These guys do the best interiors, by the way.
They give very nice descriptions, yes.
Yes. So GV70 starts the standard 4-cylinder starts at 47,985, 1450 for freight, and then you step up to the GV70 2.5T Select all-wheel drive. That includes all of the stuff that I mentioned, and plus a panoramic sunroof, aluminum trim, wireless phone charger, power tilt and telescope steering wheel, integrated memory driver's seat, power folding mirrors, and passenger walk-up device. So that goes for $50,885. And then when you add it all in, the next step up is the advanced all-wheel drive. Still with the 2.5. That includes everything with the 2.5 turbo select all-wheel drive content, plus a Bang & Olufsen premium audio system, leather seating, ventilated front seats, surround monitor, blind spot view monitor, parking distance warming, backlit trim, front passenger seat, four-way lumbar power, and very important, heated steering wheel. So you got to step it up to get that. $55,435. Still with the 2.5 turbo is the Sport Prestige. So you roll with 21-inch sport alloy wheels. At that level, leatherette wrapped upper instrument panel, aluminum trim, power cushion extension for the front seats, alloy pedals, and a second row AC outlet. $58,795. And then finally, you get to the top of the range, and this has the 3.5 liter turbo engine. It's the only version that gets that, the Sport Advanced all-wheel drive, 375 horsepower, 391 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed auto. I mean, a number of other things here. 19-inch wheels. Finally, all the way at the top, the second model to get the 3.5 liter turbo Sport Prestige all-wheel drive. That rolls on the 21-inch wheels, head-up display, and a bunch of other things at a very pricey $70,095 plus the $14,050
Getting up there
for freight. So that's pretty pricey, and that is the top of the range. I hate to say it, entry-level model. It's not really.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think we can say entry level.
No. But that's a lot of vehicle. Beautiful vehicles. I have their GV80 Coupe out front right now, and it's got a. I'm not sure the name of it, but it's kind of like a metallic light blue exterior with blue leather, with red piping. and red seat belts.
Wow.
So they really
Wow.
do. They really do some beautiful interiors, and I think they're a brand to watch. Will they build something below the GV70 as far as a gas-powered version? I don't know. They do have the GV60, which is all electric. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's talk a little tech, shall we?
Excellent.
Let's talk about
Excellent.
carbon fiber. And this deals with McLaren and carbon fiber. Carbon fiber, I really think at some point this will find its way from the exotic cars all the way into everyday cars for weight and strength. Problem is, it will increase insurance costs because if you have to get a new carbon fiber piece, it's not cheap. If you
It's
remember,
not cheap, and it's very, um, very people and time intensive.
right? Exactly. So,
I
what
I guess you can do some of it with robots, but
I would
I'm not
imagine,
sure.
well, McLaren Automotive has developed a new application of an aerospace industry composite manufacturing method scaled for volume supercar manufacturing. This is going to be at their McLaren Composites Technology Center in Sheffield, UK, with new automated rapid tape production, producing McLaren's ART carbon fiber structures that can be optimized to be even lighter, stiffer, stronger via advanced structural optimization. And basically, if you see the system, it's sort of like a roll of tape that this stuff comes off of.
Yeah.
And it is beautiful stuff and lightweight. Um, it's you think about the Boeing builds airplanes out of all carbon fiber, right? The isn't the 787 all carbon fiber? The fuselage is, I believe. And this makes me think it's kind of like a roll of tape coming, like packing tape coming off of
It is. It's very, and we've lifted samples of it, and it weighs nothing.
yeah.
And you can't believe that it's so strong, but it is.
But it is, and it's beautiful too. So, what they call this ART system, the automated rapid tape technology, they call it an enabler of greater use of carbon fiber, and it will reduce the cost, creates the possibility of using it in more areas on the vehicle. Of course, McLaren's famous for their carbon fiber tub that you sit in, but they see it as a wider use of ultra lightweight body panels constructed of the McLaren ART carbon fiber material, becoming cost effective. Imagine if you could make doors out of this stuff, right? And it didn't dent. Wouldn't that be crazy?
That'd be fabulous.
Yeah. So I think we will eventually move to an era where carbon fiber will no longer be seen as this luxury thing you show off. It will be seen as, well, that's just part of manufacturing. That's just, we're
Right.
lightweighting the vehicle.
Yeah, but it needs to be automated. I mean, the components, carbon is cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and the strands are inexpensive.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
It's putting it all together that
yeah, it's putting it all together. Well, if you had a carbon fiber roof and you could get it made, inexpensively, maybe it would fix the next problem. We're going to talk about a very weird problem that Colorado and Canyon owners, GM Colorado and Canyon, the mid-size pickup owners, are experiencing. And it involves dents in the roof when they take the vehicle through the car wash. And it's not even like something hitting it, it's even the air blowing on the roof.
yeah.
Now, that raises the question. I don't take my cars through a car wash. I either wash it by hand, or if there was a self-wash place, I would do it, because I just don't. I think that stuff's rough on cars. But hey, they take the press cars through them every time before they deliver them, you know? So maybe I'm an
Yeah.
outlier there, but the equipment still seems rough to me. It always did, you know. But
It's, well, you don't want to take a convertible through a car wash because it'll rip that
rip
soft
the
top.
top off. Yeah.
A tremendous, it's like a hurricane blasting to dry it off.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's what's causing the problems on these Colorado roofs. It's not like something hitting it, like a wheel hitting it. It's high pressure drying that
yeah.
is basically denting these roofs on these brand new trucks. So
So it's, yeah.
it is a so they've come up with a fix for it. This is for the 2023 to 2025 Chevy Colorado and GMC Canyon models. Uh, for the new trucks, they put a ridge underneath it and some stiffening material, which looks like they stick that to the bottom of it, and that fixes it. And um, they're saying that vehicles built after a certain date will all get this, but they are you can bring your vehicle back and they will put these things on. If the vehicle was built on or before if the vehicle was built before February 3rd, 2025, you probably don't have this from the factory. After the fact, they're going to install a metal bow running vertically and some of this other material to stiffen the roof.
Yeah.
Sad they didn't put
So,
this on it right away. So,
well, it just looks like they kind of cut some costs,
corn,
and left the metal flexible enough that it oil cans.
eight oil cans.
That's the term, and you get this dent that you have to reinforce. You
Yeah,
know,
and
you got no choice.
if your roof is dented, you're probably going to have to go and get some paintless dent removal done first, they say, and then they'll put the stiffening stuff on at the dealer, the recall. But nothing says quality more than having your roof dent when it gets hit by a burst
Oh
of
yes, absolutely.
hot air. It's
On
like,
your brand new Colorado that you're paying payments on.
why? I mean, I know it's cost, but you think about it. I mean, even like hail damage and things like it seems like they should have had this on it to begin with,
It
right?
should have. It should have. Because
Were
you
they?
get hail damage all over the Midwest.
Yeah, and anything, I don't know. It just seems like somebody took some cuts and then they just
Yeah.
now they got caught. Now it's expensive. Now it's more expensive to do this now than at the factory, isn't it?
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah. So anyway, if you have that vehicle and you've had denting with your roofs, you're probably going to get a recall notice or at least contact your dealer and find out what the deal is, what you can do. Uh, hey, Les, why don't you tell us about our next story? This is the Leno Law. It's not the official title for it, but I mean, I'm certainly people that want to get this passed won't mind attaching Jay Leno to it because he's kind of a guy that's pretty much universally liked. This is State Bill 712,
Right.
and they're going to look at this in California in August, they think. And I wonder if he'll go and testify for this
I'm
bill in front of
sure
them.
he will. I'm sure he will. He supports the bill, which raises the emissions test cutoff by 15 years to 1990.
Yeah.
That's before then, it was, 1975
Mm-hmm.
when cars of that era had precious little emission controls.
Right.
So if you have a 76 Trans Am, chicken on the roof, Pontiac, you got a problem because it won't pass emissions and it costs you money and you have to
Right.
do all sorts of stuff, put in a
Yeah.
catalytic converter.
Yeah.
Um, so the fact is, because fuel, well, anyway, let me explain first what it is. So it's currently written that the cars now that would be 90 and above require a smog test every 2 years. And it's independent from the vehicle registrations, but you don't get an updated sticker for your license plate if your smog test isn't current.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a handful of exemptions, they say, but among late model vehicles, any diesel powered passenger car or truck from 96 or earlier, and any gas powered from 75 or earlier. So um, there's a legal provision that allows 35-year-old vehicles to avoid certain portions. Now, I might mention 35 years old is is still in the late 80s.
that's that's scary.
uh,
That was just
and
scary.
yes, so the California SB 712, known informally as Leno's Law, will refine that exemption to eliminate the smog test entirely for that category.
But there is a
And
but. There is an if. You have to have insurance, right? You have to have
you have to have insurance. And
collector insurance.
the other thing that they have to realize is that the fuels for these 75 and earlier vehicles, the fuels were much, much dirtier than the fuels they're burning today.
Yes.
So it's not like you're allowing a bunch of smog to happen. It's that the level of pollutants has gone way, way down.
Well, one of the weird things about it, I always found this crazy. So if you put in a modern LS in a, let's say, 1970 Camaro, it would not be allowed to pass the smog test because it wasn't the original engine. But the engine you put in
Yeah,
it, let's say you had the whole engine management system and you ran cats and that was a lot cleaner. But they wouldn't allow it because it wasn't original. And to me, that's
yeah.
like a disconnect. You made that vehicle a lot cleaner. It's close to, if you're running cats and things, a factory car. It's much better.
Now that is true. Similar here in Virginia, if you build a kit car or something like that, and you put, which normally takes the year of the engine that you put in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but fortunately, the air quality people have the rule that whatever engine is in there, if you did that and put an LS1 in a 1966 Corvette,
Mm-hmm.
you take it there and it measures the pollutants and you're fine.
Yeah.
You get a certificate.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, or if you put a catalytic converter on an older car, wouldn't that help if you just put it on there? I'd
It
do it
would,
just to
yeah.
stop the smell, so you don't smell like
A number
exhaust.
of people are doing that. Um, we thought about doing that when I was replacing the exhaust on our Cobra,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no room for.
There's no room. Yeah.
I mean, there's no room for anything like that.
Run cats and no
But it's
mufflers. There you go.
no, thank you.
um, but I sometimes think that and there is a group of hot rodders in
Mm.
Congress and senators and
Oh yes, yes,
that
yes.
do understand, and like it should be at the tailpipe. You know what I mean? Like it should be at the
Yeah,
tailpipe. If you're running
absolutely.
cats, you put a newer engine in. GM made those engines where it was they called it like bolted in and turned the key, and it was like a 5.3 with it was even okay for emissions. But I still think in certain states they'd run up against, well, that's a new engine, that's not the original engine. It's like, well,
Yeah, that's idiotic to me.
but it's
It's just
clean, it's much
yeah,
cleaner. Plus, the idea is with this law that you would just you wouldn't be driving these things as much. So you get
right.
and the way around that is just buy a bunch of old cars. That way, you drive each one. You can drive each one like 5,000 miles, so you have 5 of them. So you can, yes.
That, yes, that sees to be happening down at the shop where we're working on our
Yes, I
cars.
know what you're talking about. So, well, let's talk about and this next vehicle. And this next vehicle would not have any problem passing a smog test that I that I know of. It would be very weird
No?
if it did. But this is the at the wheel review of the ID Buzz, and a beautiful vehicle in that red, that red look. I tell you, the two-tone paint. I've always been a fan of two-tone paint, and this combination when it showed up, I mean, people stopped in the street. It is cherry red and metro silver, and I almost think it looks like a Super Chief locomotive, which is what they used to call that look, war bonnet. Of course, it would have said Santa Fe on the front, but it was silver and red. And one of the best looking two tones I have ever seen. Both colors are great, and together they're even better. I'm actually happy it wasn't the yellow and the white, which I don't think I particularly like. But I like this color, and I think it's a pretty rare combo for this. This is the 2025 ID Buzz Pro S Plus from Volkswagen. And what I found interesting, Les, is you would think, well, it's just kind of like a minivan, but it's actually bigger than a minivan. It's more like the size of a Ford Transit, I would think. And we're going to get into some of the features on the inside and all, but off the bat, I would say the first thing I would state is it is much bigger than traditional minivans. I was passing Pacificas and Siennas and others, and I was sitting a lot higher than them. It was more like a traditional van or maybe the transit van. I drove a lot of vans in my life and owned vans, and that's what I felt like. It was more like that. You were a lot higher, and you were a lot more up in the air. So that said, it is like a minivan because it has the sliding rear doors, the sets of sliding rear doors, and the remote control for that, and the 3-row seats. But overall, the look is great. I love the gigantic Volkswagen lit up logo out front. That is a lot of fun. I like the wheel covers. They look like Volkswagen Beetle wheels in a way, but modernized. It when you're on the road, it is like being in a bubble out front because you've got a big windshield and those side windows that are right along the windshield. Drives well. I mean, drives really well. Feels good, handles well, and great acceleration because it is an electric vehicle. And I just think it brings a smile to a lot of people's face. The U.S. version is 12 inches longer than the European versions, and you can tell that. Also, it has opening windows on the sliding doors. If you're in Europe, you don't get any opening windows. But let's look on the inside. This is called Moonlight. It is black interior, brown seats, and kind of like a blue trim. These seats were really premium, heavy duty, well bolstered, very sturdy. They are heated, they are cooled, they are even have massage. They have all electronic adjustments, lumbar. Even the memory seat is on the side, which is great. And that knee bolster is a great feature. Everything was marked with ID Buzz. Even the pedals. Look, pause and play for the brake and
That's
accelerator.
clever.
I love the vista out of the dash. It is almost like a GM Dustbuster dash. It's big, but they've kind of made it float by having the space in between the windshield moldings, so it kind of reduces the mass of it. It struggles with the weird defroster and headlight switch over there on the left, and then some haptic controls still on the steering wheel. The shifter is very much like the ID4. You just rotate it, and you just sit down and rotate it. You don't even have to push the start-stop button, but there is one there, which is kind of odd. Uh, Still got the finger slider haptic controls for the HVAC, but some of the other things are on the screen. Heated and cooled seats, as I said, driver lumbar massage, which is nice, I guess. There's a cup holder in the dash, and of course controls for your rear sliding doors. Um, I like this material that was on the dash. It almost looked like fabric, but it really was smooth to the touch. But it almost looked like it had a texture to it, but smooth to the touch. But nice to break up the big blob of the dash. Also, I like that you see these ghost-like images of cars on this little display when you're driving along. Center console, easily removable. A couple of latches on there. And then it has a built-in ice scraper and a built-in bottle cap opener for your non-alcoholic beverages. So if you ever need one, there it is. It's right there. Rear view mirror mounted very high. I found I had to keep looking up at it. I would like that to come down a little bit. Biggest complaint, hard to get in and out of. They have this kind of slanted piece of metal above the step, and your foot wants to go to the slanted piece of metal. Here's the side glass windows. They look like a flush fit window on the outside, but they do open up. They are very popular with dogs, I understand. All the dogs I asked said they like getting their air in that area. But 3-row seating. Once again, the rear seats are heavy duty, nicely upholstered. There's how those small windows open up. They slide back. Hey, it's not a big window, but it's nice to have some air. You get your HVAC controls on the roof for the second row passengers. Overall, a clean interior, a lot of switch gear from ID4. So if you have ever drove one of them, you would recognize what that is. Pretty premium seats. Some of the nicest seats I've ever seen in a vehicle. You get a foam pocket in the back of the driver's seat, and then a regular pocket down below. So that's handy thing to have, I guess, if you don't want to lose your phone. And there are USB charging connections. The rear seats fold. A very generous third row seat. This is actually for adults, and I could sit in it, and it was relatively comfortable. You don't get an opening rear glass back here, but you do get some USB connection. The ceiling height was great because it is a big box. You do get AC, as I said, cup holders and USB connectors, a little armrest, and a spot for pencils or something. I don't know what you would do with that, and your own air outlets. And if you want to fold the second row seats flat, you just pull this lever. Out back, they have this little kind of platform that folds up. We're going to see in a minute, but you get hooks and 12-volt outlets and things like that. But this little platform flips up on this gas rod, and apparently they had stored a lot of detailing stuff there in these bins, handy storage. And then those bins you can pull out, and the rear seats come out. They have handles on them, but you better have eaten your Wheaties because they are pretty heavy. The second row seats do not come out easily. I guess you could probably unbolt them. In Europe, they have a platform that folds down and makes a bed. We don't get that here, though. And this was on the hatch. It's the triangles, safety triangles for Europe. Everyone asks what's behind the little hood. And, well, not a heck of a lot. There's the lighted logo. A window washer fill. And then there's another fill off in the corner, which I'm not quite sure what it's for, but it's another fluid. But not a lot behind there. Not a lot behind there at all. Just that little access panel. Once again, loved the wheels. I thought they were cool and retro. I wouldn't change them at all, although people are already offering custom wheels for this thing, but I would leave them on there. That's fine. Love the finish of it. I like those 3 little decorations on the rear sail panel, whatever you would call them. And the shape of it, it's got a huge rear opening because it is basically a big rectangle. So it makes it great for loading things in. I wish we had the bed option that they have in Europe because that looked great. Nice flat like a full-size platform bed almost. Bring your own air mattress. Good-looking vehicle. As I say, you get a lot of people checking you out with this thing because it is it makes people happy. I think just seeing it. But maybe the price won't make you happy. I don't know. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Let's tell you what we got here. We had the ID Buzz Pro S, and it had 20-inch alloy wheels, all-season tires, automatic LED headlights, poor weather lights, which improve visibility in inclement weather. I believe those are called fog lights. And then all the safety features you could ever want in this thing. DZ charging capability requires compatible public charging station. This did not have a charger in it. I don't know whether it was removed or what, but it does get 234 miles of range. I didn't charge it at all when I had it. I just drove it and got it down on the range. But it's rated at 83 mpge. So let's look at this. It has not been tested for crash tests in any way, shape, or form. Country of origin, electric motor is Germany. Transmission is Germany. Final assembly points, interesting. They don't say what it is, but parts content, 1% U.S. Canadian, 26 German, 25 German, which seems like that's only a little over 50% of the parts. I don't know where the rest of them come from. Okay, so what did we have? The base price for this is $63,495. You go for what I think is worth it, the cherry red and metro silver exterior paint. That's an additional $995. The 91 kilowatt hour battery, that's included. The Moonlight interior with leatherette, no charge. As tested, price, including the destination charge, $66,040. $66,040. These are going to range between $60,000 and $70,000, at least on the sticker. I'm sure there'll be markups, and they're said that they're going to be very hard to find. So if you're going out to buy one of these, chances are you're going to pay over sticker. Chances are you might not be able to get what you want. But I think the coolest thing about this is the two-tone paint. I would definitely spend, basically $1,000 for that because it's worth it. It just looks cool. It's one of the coolest looking vehicles. Drove well. I was very impressed. It drove like a smaller vehicle. Of course, it's electric. Had great pickup. I was on highways. I was on local streets. It was easy to wheel around. I like the big glass. I like the, as I was telling you a little bit about it, that it is, instead of just getting a flashing light or something in your mirror if you go to make a turn into a lane, it actually has these, I'll call them, they almost look ghost-like cars, like you can see through them, and it will show you what cars are around you. Oh, there's one in front of you, there's one behind you, there's one off to your left, but your right is clear. I thought that was kind of neat. As I say, a lot of parts from the ID4 are used, which is fine. I mean, it's great, all the displays. Would I buy one right now? I think you have to be someone that's been waiting for this vehicle to buy it. I think it's going to be hard to get. I think it's going to require effort to get it. But I have not seen many of them on the road. I think I saw one other one on the road. So I did get random people taking pictures of, well, the car, not me, but I might be in the car. So, but what do you think? I mean, is it the coolest minivan that's ever been made? Is
Sure
it
looks
more
like
than a
it.
minivan? What do you think? What's your take on it?
I think, I think it's, well, what it is the 60 years later microbus.
For a not micro
And
price.
not micro price, but the fact is, it's so advanced that it earns its money.
Right.
It is for sure the coolest minivan
Yeah.
anybody's ever put out. But I think people will sort of call it a microbus. It's going to have a huge following.
Yeah. Definitely bigger than a minivan. That's what I would tell people. A lot higher.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard to get into, though. You wanted to know what my wife thought about it. She liked the interior. She liked the visibility of it. She found it hard to get into, though,
yeah.
because of that
As so
step.
many SUVs are. But
Yeah, yeah.
wait,
She said it should have those running boards on it that come out when you.
yeah, it will eventually, I bet.
I think it's because there's like two steps there. There's the step well that I'm used to in a van, and then there's that other thing that's sort of like a step that they probably use to reinforce it. I love the pause and play on
Yeah,
it.
that's
That's
very
fun.
clever.
That's fun. Um, but kind of funny. The Dustbuster van brought to mind the
Yeah, the old
Dustbuster van.
Pontiac Trans something, Transport, whatever that was
Well,
called.
when we get into some forgotten vehicles, that would
Yeah,
be a great test. Name
we'll bring
every
that up.
brand of those vans, from
Oh, boy.
the Chevy, the Oldsmobile, the Pontiac. I don't think there was a Buick version, but there was at
No,
least
there
Chevy,
wasn't.
Olds, and Pontiac.
Yeah,
I can name the Olds one, but I won't. I wanna save that for forgotten cars for the future. So. But hey, we hope you've enjoyed this at the wheel of the ID Buzz, and we're going to be bringing you some more great vehicles. So always stay tuned to Cruise Control for the latest reviews. That was the 2025 ID Buzz Pro S Plus. We also hope you enjoyed the show, and it's been great spending some time with you. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.